is this legit? Am I going to be scammed on this? Why does she not speak normal? And I was like,
Hey, what's up, guys? Today we have an absolutely amazing guest. We have Anne here,
hi.
who is an absolutely phenomenal student, and she's also a pediatrician. I would love for you to first introduce yourself, but actually, do you think you can introduce yourself in Mandarin? 你可以先介绍一下你自己，就是你从哪里来的，还有就是你是做什么工作的。
好吧，你们好，我叫Anne，我是一个小儿科的医生，我是从纽约来的，但是我现在住在波士顿。还有我很开心跟你们今天讲话。
那我想了解一下，就是很多人就是学中文有不同的理由，那你当初为什么决定想学普通话呢？
我的原因是我有一个小儿子，他现在2岁了，所以他出生的时候我已经知道了，我想让他学中文，但是如果我的普通话是这么差，我怎么会让他学了普通话？所以我觉得我应该也跟他一起学普通话。
了解。那现在他会讲话吗？
他现在当然可以讲话，我觉得他真的很聪明啊，他会讲广东话、普通话也越南话。
真的吗？
真的，因为是因为我的老公也是越南人嘛。
我竟然这么厉害！
真的，他的比我真的很厉害他也听得懂英文，但是我们在家不要跟他讲英文。
了解。那为什么让孩子学中文对你来说这么重要呢？
是很重要，因为是我的文化嘛，所以我想他跟我的文化有一个很 close 的关系，因为我不想他跟我一样一个 ABC 不会讲中文，这是问题吧。
为什么这个对你来说很重要？就是为什么你不想让他就是像很多就是美国华裔一样，就是不会讲自己的母语？
不有这个母语，因为是我们的 heritage 嘛。因为中国文化有很多有趣的东西比如说有很多好吃的东西有很多很好看的电影，还有音乐。如果你介绍有什么你儿子喜欢的topics， 我觉得他们可能会发现了中国的文化真的有很 rich， 所以如果他没有这个关系，他真的没有办法 appreciate 我们的历史嘛，他的和文化。
那在Cantonese and Mandarin之前，你的国语是什么水平呢？
跟Cantonese and Mandarin学习之前，我觉得我最大的困难是speaking 说话。我觉得我真的我跟国语真的很尴尬吧所以我大部分不想跟别的人讲普通话，所以我觉得我跟别的其他的中国人的关系多数很 shallow， 不是很 fulfilling。
那你身为一个儿科医生，会不会经常遇到一些需要讲中文的情况？
在我的工作，我的病人都会讲英文，但是我觉得我的关系我跟他们的关系多数不是太好，所以现在我可以跟别的父母讲国语所以我觉得我的 patient care 是现在比较好。
是吗？那给小孩看病的时候，你会不会遇到一些家长他们只会讲中文？
对所以我可以照顾他们，当然跟他们说很多不同的有趣的 topics 对话，所以我觉得我现在的工作是比较好了。
That's awesome, that's cool. 那你有没有遇到就是任何一种情况，就是因为中文不够好，所以就是突然觉得就是不太方便，或者有点着急？
我觉得是多少我真的我在太怕跟别的人讲话嘛，这是最大的嘛。因为我觉得我跟他们说话太尴尬。
就是你说尴尬的时候是什么意思？就是你觉得就是like can we switch to English or something like that？
对我很怕他们听我说的话是太 elementary。所以我很会跟他们说我不好意思，我的中文很差，我们可以讲英文吗？我在这个时候我这样说，你看到他们真的很有一点 disappointed，
有点失望。
对有一点失望。对，
你觉得为什么他们有点失望？是因为你是中国人吗？
我当时一些是因为我是中国人，还是因为我有一些的病人，他们真的很想跟别的中国人说话，所以如果我们没有这个办法，是觉得是当然是有一点希望了。
这个，因为我当时就是我的外公，他也是在医院里，然后那时候就是所有就是医生都是外国人，所以他那时候会觉得很孤独，
很难，真的。
对，所以我觉得就是你有这个就是想就是提高你的中文的那个想法，我觉得是蛮好的。
谢谢。
Now, okay, switching over to English for a second, I guess before you actually joined the program, was there anything that kind of scared you about it, or any kind of like fears or hesitations before joining? I'm gonna bring the elephant out of the room. You can be completely honest with me, because I'm gonna say the website looks like a scam.
That was definitely a concern, and I think that's why I hesitated for a little bit. I was like, and I'm not gonna lie, I even like looked up like so many different like Reddits where I was like, is this legit? Is this like am I going to be scammed on this or not? I think the other thing that I was worried about is, like, as you can imagine, being a doctor, like my schedule can be kind of tough, and also having a toddler, it's just like hard to like carve out the time. So I think it was kind of those two major issues. But the major thing I think that, in case this is going to be the next question, what made me decide to pursue this was, I think it was helpful seeing your videos where it's like saying like, okay, well, like, why don't we use what you know from Cantonese? Like, realize like the jump isn't as big as you think. And when I was watching the videos and trying to make the jumps bar myself, I was like, well, this is what I've always been thinking. Like, I wish I could use my Cantonese to help me with my Mandarin. So why like keep on thinking about this? Like, we should just try it and see what happens. And like I said, my son is quite young, so I wanted to be able to kind of get ahead of this before he was actively speaking full sentences, which he's now.
But first thing, a couple things. The website, I designed it. And everyone is just like, Sheldon, man, that's terrible. And I'm like, yo, I spent a lot of time. But I spent a lot of time on the website. Like, oh my goodness. But I have a professional designer working on it now.
I'm happy for you. I was wondering before, because I was like, he's an engineer. How would you do with this?
Engineer and design aesthetic are two different worlds.
Good point.
Two different worlds. But no, 100% I hear you on that. And I think it's really cool that so many parents, it's like the biggest concern is like, oh, you know, I have a baby and I have time, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of like, it's like you're never going to have the time really. It's about whether you want to make the time. And so for you, it's what made you say like at this age now rather than be like, maybe when they're 8 or something like that?
It was actually two things. So one, I wanted to get ahead of it before like he started having like more of a formal education in Chinese, because that's my intention for him. And also like, so sort of being able to help him through that. But I think additionally, it was almost like, well, he's learning to speak, so why don't I learn with him? I found it really fun for me because I would just practice back and forth between Cantonese and Mandarin with him. So I'm like, great, like I now have some of these skill sets. So when he's older and trying to create more complex sentences, like ideally I'll be able to do it already, but if not, like I'll be doing it with him. So it's almost like an activity we're doing together without him even realizing it.
Wow, I find it so inspiring that you were able to give your kid all the Man Vietnamese.
I know. I mean, that's on the dad, but yeah, my husband's a twin, and his twin is raising their kids to speak English only. And I remembered when their kids were younger, we were having like family dinner, and
their
mom, so my mother-in-law doesn't speak English, she only speaks Vietnamese, and she was speaking Vietnamese, and their son was like, oh, why does she not speak normal? And I was like, oh, that's terrible to hear, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like my son, like he hears different languages all the time, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, because I imagine, especially for like the mom to hear that, it's like, why doesn't she speak normal? It's so tough, because it's like, you know, this is like someone who's related to you. It like this relationship should mean a lot, and it's like, oh well, because of the language barrier, it makes it so much harder. Not to say it's impossible, but it's just harder to develop that connection. Yeah, because when you think about it, it's like your kids' grandparents are your parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just like, I always thought about like, I never want my kid to have to decide between like speaking English with my kid or speaking Chinese to my parents.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good on you. I guess like, what were you most hoping to get out of the program? And like, what have your results been like so far in your eyes? I mean, we just heard you speak, but.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my biggest goal was because I think before the program, I feel like I've always had like pieces of like Mandarin that like I understood, but my biggest struggle is actually speaking. And I think this program actually developed a lot of confidence in me where I was like, okay, like this isn't as big of a jump as I had imagined. Like I kind of, and it was, this is where the coaching culture is like so helpful. Oh yeah, like I can do this. So I think the connection especially was really helpful for me. Cause you know, I mean, you can get as much as you can from the videos and like certainly getting the feedback was amazing. But I think having that like one-on-one time to figure out where my problem spots were extremely helpful. And then also having a coach to kind of see your progress throughout the entire program was also just like kind of great. I mean, the whole point of coaching, right, is seeing what your weak spots are and then continue to work on those problem spots for you. Having the coaching, like kind of being geared towards like what your goals are, what goal topics you want to be able to discuss was also extremely helpful for me. So I was able to like pick up things that would be helpful for me when I'm talking to my kids, like daycare teachers, right? Mm-hmm. And now I'm able to like, we're working on different conversations that I may have at work. Having a little bit of that personalization makes a difference. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, this is stuff I'll use day to day.
There's an entire like human body chart and everything. I don't know if you've seen it yet, that like we're just preparing on the back end of like, and then like we're like preparing it for like showing you all the human body parts because you're specifically working with the medical field.
Right. Yeah, I remember the video where Janelle was like, disclaimer, like none of us are in the medical field, and I was like, it's okay, I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, like we're not in the medical field, but we're doing all the research on the back end, making sure that we get like the right terms and everything for you. Yeah.
That's just something I was meaning to ask you guys, like with the research, because one of the topics was that you guys had prepared was like, how to have a discussion about like, weight loss. And like the timing is like absolutely right. But I was like, I don't think I ever mentioned this to Janelle at all. Like what is like how long you would expect a baby to like lose weight for. So I was like, they must have done a lot of research on that.
I'm glad it was helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and I guess like for you, like, was there like an aha moment when you came into the program that you were like, this is what I came in for?
What I found really helpful, and this was like early on, what like, okay, we went through different phrases, and then what Janelle had us do at the time was like, okay, we'll talk about, say it in Cantonese. And like when I struggle a little bit with making that transition, but as I like translated it in Cantonese, I was like, wait, I know this word. Oh, I know what this means. Oh, this is amazing. Like I know what this is. Having that experience like really solidified like, okay, this would be a good program for me in the sense of like, okay, if I can think about things in Cantonese and then make the switch, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel like your Cantonese improved at all?
100%. I mean, I think after having my evaluation, as I continued going through the videos and doing my practice lessons, I could see myself thinking a lot more in Cantonese, and I think that has also helped a lot.
Awesome. Yeah. But what were some of the setbacks and challenges that you encountered along the way? And like, how do you feel like you handled them?
Like I already alluded to before, but I think the biggest challenge is honestly time. Just being a mom of a toddler and working as much as I do and just trying to carve out that time and figuring out where I would carve out the time. I think it's like certainly possible to do it. You just have to make the commitment for it. So like, definitely a common thing I would do is during my commute to work, I would just like sit on the subway and just like watch through the videos or like even start typing out like the sentences for the challenges. I would wait for my son to fall asleep and then hide in a room and like quietly do my vocal hacks. And it's like, okay, like it's not easy, but learning a language isn't easy anyway. So if you're committed, you just make the time for it.
I mean, it's crazy because I feel like you're the person who has the most possible excuses for time. You know what I mean? Like I got a kid, I'm in medical and stuff. So, because so many people, they're like, I want to learn, but I just don't have the time. It's like the classic excuse for a lot of years. I guess for you, like what would you say to that person?
I mean, if you truly think you don't have the time, you don't have the time. Like, it's like kind of like, it's almost a self-defeating prophecy, right? You have to make the time for it, right? The answer is like, yeah, it is going to be a lot of time. But if you're really passionate about it and it really means a lot to you, you're going to make the time. And I think also like, what's the trade-off? Like you don't do this, but then you lose out on everything like we had just discussed. You lose out on a relationship that you could be making. You lose out on understanding like your heritage at a deeper level. So like, okay, the short term like crunch for time versus like losing out on this like huge opportunity to like get closer to your own community and heritage.
You pick your hard, right? There's two hard paths, but one hard is like gonna reward you. One hard path is just staying like the same.
Yeah, anything worthwhile is gonna require a good amount of amount of like challenges. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. What's been the most rewarding part of the journey for you now that you can speak the language?
I think the rewarding part is honestly, it feels like, I don't want to say like I can 100% speak the language, but I think what it is like it's built in a good amount of confidence that like I'll get there. And it's also like very humbling, I think, for me, where I'm like, well, this is actually kind of fun. No longer feels like this obstacle that's like too hard for me to overcome. Now I'm like, okay, yeah, it's not going to be easy. It shouldn't be, but like, I know I can get there. And it's fun to figure out new things in like Chinese pop culture that I never knew before. So it's almost like rediscovering my roots in a way and discovering something absolutely new, because obviously culture is constantly changing. I mean, like literally yesterday I was just talking to a friend about like, hey, like Disney Plus has the shows in Chinese, right? So like I was like, great, like I think he and I are just gonna sit down and watch Bluey and Mandarin. It'll be fun. Why not?
With your child, is that part of the reward as well? Being able to
100%.
That's so awesome. Last question is just like I guess any message to anyone who's like, you know, they've been wanting to learn but they just keep pushing it off down the line or something like that for a lot of years. Like any message to that person?
I mean, for that person, I'll be saying like, well, what's holding you back? Right? Like, yeah, time is one thing, but like you have to choose your heart, right? You can choose to put in the time and really like make the effort, or okay, choose to not really lose out on any potential connections that you could have with your culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's pretty much it.
All right. Bye, Charlotte.
Bye. Thank you. Take care.